been playing like the Titans that they have been in the LPL of past.
Hey, listen, Vampire might have something to say about that, but I love your little expose on Monki there, earning that Neferi ban as well. It's a champion that he has been pretty feared on, even though it's not his most played so far on the year. And wow, it looks like maybe a team was paying attention in the back, Cubby, because we are seeing a first pick Nico come through.
I mean, look, Nico is the highest presence champion that we have on this patch, and I think for good reason. On is a support Nico enthusiast of years past too. But hey, gave up Talia is a big pick for Karis, and another really big pick on this patch. Talia, keep in mind,
Pantheon
is
time.
11-2. So it could be Pantheon time, but with the Nico showing, you got to imagine that BLG might look to wrap up that bot lane. Nico's best pairing is Kalista. So a lot of the
interesting to go like I saw they were hovering Lucian. Obviously, there's a lot of really strong AD carries. You would just almost never hover Lucian in that scenario, but instead they will go to the Varus, which was unbanned. So it's a solid takeaway. As you mentioned, Kalista being the best pairing for Nico. Varus Nico still very strong just because of the priority you get.
Also, yeah, I was about to say this is a bit of a deny, as the Varus Nico really good. I think Kalista is probably the second choice here for Elk, and what I'm likely to see is, oh my god, Rumble also got through this draft. I mean, I feel like all the bans that were thrown out were for priority picks.
Powerful stuff.
Rumble Nico, that's going to be really tough for WE to deal with. They're going to have to find a way to stop that, and man, with the Nico, they could threaten Nico mid against Talia. I'd be a bit surprised if that's the case. But we could get really weird. What I also like about the champs that BLG has so far, again, if it is Nico Kalista, we have seen Renata get played into that just to try and match the hostile takeover, throw that down as a Pop Blossom comes down, they can counter to the circle and prevent the follow-up. We'll see if that ends up getting banned. I don't love it for lane, but it's at least an attempted thematic counter. I think that the Galio is actually a better counter for Cube, who of course has been a tank lover. It's been really good for Team WE and their identity this split, Yanni. And gotta say, I could see a world where a big global taunt, helps deter follow-up when it comes to the Pop Blossom. We're going to expect to see likely in the hands of On.
We're getting into the second half of picks and bans. Zed going to be banned out. Okay.
It's a great matchup in the Talia. Knight's having a laugh, though, because playing Zed and a Galio in a team fight sounds abysmal. But
yeah, it
Karis doesn't want to deal with that.
And Pantheon off the board, no surprise, because not only is it super strong with Talia, but also super strong with the Galio. Maybe they're going to go for another jungler that likes to go in. I think
Trundle
maybe
ban?
you could. Trundle would be okay. I think maybe a Viego ban because it's Monki's most played. It doesn't see as much priority, but like giving Viego a Galio backup is pretty good.
I like that, Yanni. I could see a world where we actually see a Viego here. I'm not the best. I'm not a huge Viego fan or enjoyer.
I'm with you.
They take away Monki's most played in the Skarner. Yeah. I could see a world where we see a Jax too, as Jax has a really good matchup in the Xin Zhao, specifically for the jungle.
They're not disrupted too much, but they're going to give Monki counter pick anyway. So, this is the guy who is the driver of this team, as we've talked about. Team WE drafting like it.
I just really curious to see how we wrap things up, because Monki's been a Trundle enjoyer of late. And Trundle and the Xin Zhao was like the original Trundle jungle matchup. But I think playing Trundle into stuff like Kalista or Ezreal is really hard. So I think this really dissuades a potential Trundle. I'm expecting a Knight Ahri. Knight is an unbelievable Ahri player. So, no surprise here.
It just makes too much sense. Yeah.
It does.
Now, and not only that, it overloads Vampire, right? Because now you have to pick and choose between the Ezreal or the Ahri, right? And if you check one of them, the other one may have the opportunity to go wherever they please, as we have swapped
I like Silas
to grab the Silas for the Galio ultimate for the Xin Zhao. Not only that, you've got great ultimates across the board to pick up if you're a Knight. So this is great.
Varus and Not also good options for Knight, so going to save that Ahri maybe for another game. Also, a little bit more tankiness here, which I feel like that's why we ended up going with the Silas over the Ahri, as it will be that Viego pickup for Monki. And frankly, I mean, I think Viego, I'm not the biggest Viego fan at the moment. I think that whenever Viego's in the game, I mean, the game kind of revolves around him getting a reset. If you get a reset, you can win. If not, you can lose, and his base kit is just not the same compared to other junglers. But, man, the setup that Viego has to maybe find an opening kill, you got Talia, Nautilus, Varus, Galio. You cannot ask to have more setup this game for Monki. So we'll see if he's able to do it. Also gives you a way to escape that deadly Pop Blossom. And that will be the big concern here for WE. Can they defend against that Pop Blossom? Is the Pop Blossom Equalizer combo going to be big? Galio ult will do its damnedest to help out with that, but we'll see if it's enough.
One thing to note, even though it is the obvious, I mean, this BLG composition isn't particularly tanky, right? This is opportunity for Viego to really go unchecked, right? Because he does have a solid amount of damage once you get, you know, 1.5 items, 2 items, right? Oftentimes we will see the Viegos just kind of farm up, though, in the early game. This does mean that Beichuan should have purchase of wherever he wants to go. And if you happen to run into Monki, you're going to be a lot stronger early on.
Yeah, I think in this matchup, it's whoever gets the jump, with Xin being stronger overall if both are even. Viego will have to be a little bit careful. So I think that's a good call there, Yanni. But again, a lot of options, at least in this game, in this draft for both teams. Again, Knight Silas is so damn good. Really want to see if he can grab the right ults to find the setup for these equalizers that come down from Bin. As he said that his Rumble, he feels like it's improved a lot of late. We'll see if he can show that in the Rift in this game.
I just heard the Gyos ring out. You know what that means. We're on Summoner's Rift. Game 1 of this best-of-3 series between BLG and Team WE. Team WE trying to, as we said earlier, rekindle the embers of their hot streak where they'd won 5 straight and have lost the last 2. BLG looking to continue their undefeated run in the Beichuan era. And this game is going to be on his shoulders for the early goings for sure.
Yeah, undefeated series run, of course, as it has been good looks for Beichuan and BLG. Do feel like Bin's been playing much better, and the Knight has just been Thanos of late, as always. As we dive into this game, WE got to get the ball going early, and I think that this is a game where the fact that Grubs spawn at 8 minutes instead of 6 minutes does matter a lot. Because for me, like WE, they need to be able to find these early fights just with the lethality Varus, with that Talia, in the point of the game where Viego can really capitalize off of all that upfront damage to actually, you know, find and threaten the one-shots. If they don't find that, I really feel like WE is going to fall behind. And my concern is that you do have a couple lanes that aren't that great, especially this bot lane, which our observers at the LPL very much focusing on, and rightfully so, because Nico lanes, you get a lot of push, a lot of damage, and Vampire has been taking a lot of free damage from On's Nico so far.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. Maybe there's a world where he'll level up a couple of times and then go and be Mr. Worldwide and try to help out some other lanes, and Taeyoon will have to farm from afar. But again, you know, we talked about the composition of Team WE. This is not the Taeyoon composition. This is not the Vampire show. It is Monki's playground. All of this extra CC he has. Doesn't matter how little CS you have. Like, obviously, you don't want to be that far behind, but the CC, really the important thing. Team WE's bot lane is going to be. Land a nice hook, but Elk with a good buffer.
Yeah, of course, Monki, really the leader of this squad. As the rumor is, again, that whatever Monki says, that's what the team does.
Monkey say, Monkey do.
Yeah. Monkey say, team do. Is the story of WE as they try and play together. Really like what On and Elk did there. They actually pulled that wave, so the minions will aggro and push away from WE, which is going to help, as again, you are up against Nico Ezreal. This lane is dire, and On's doing a very nice job in terms of this early laning phase, just pushing WE around. And a game that, again, a lot of people feel that individuals for WE just cannot withstand the individual might and prowess of BLG. History would agree.
This bot lane would also agree.
Yeah.
I think more of a champion difference, but, you know, same difference at that point. Right? Monkey will be able to take away the crowd, but he does get rooted. Good hook coming down, but Monkey is already very low. Forced to flash away as Beichuan is sticking on him. Great job there by Karis trying to keep him away, but it doesn't matter. It'll be first blood going over to Knight.
I mean, level up for on against Vampire and, frankly, just champ diff there. Xin Zhao, yes, you do lose out on the crab, but you're always going to win out on that fight against Viego, as you properly highlighted going into this one. And the WE just not able to really hang with the power of BLG in that 3v3. So Knight picks up first blood. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, that's not a champion you ever want to see get first blood. Not a player you ever want to see get first blood. As now he's all up in Monkey's grill. So he's going to take his own chickens safely. But, you know, this Viego being behind early, certainly not something you want to see if you're a Team WE fan. Just he is the comp. You know, I was going to say an integral part. Yeah. No, he is the comp. And if he's just so useless, it's not going to matter. You could have CC for hours. Okay, maybe if you had CC for hours, you get kills, but you can have CC for a very long time, and if he's not doing a whole lot of damage, it's not going to do you much good.
Well, we did have Monki clean up his respawn camps on the top side, and we'll see if Team WE can get an early dragon. I think that with their composition again, they're going to run out of time in this game. They really need to hit the ground running and hit it hard. For me, that makes these first couple of minutes where the Drake is up imperative, because Monki has to lock down these early dragons if Team WE want to have a chance. I really think Dragon Second going to be important, as Monki is spotted here. Is down flash, does not have 6, but should have enough to ward, or at least take this camp. Might have to burn Smite, though, which not exactly ideal for a Dragon take. Does have that Smite coming back up soon. And again, early Dragon just really tough for WE to grab. This is why I like Nico so much on this patch, because you pretty much ensure bot lane priority against the majority of the engaged supports. So Team WE actually shifted Taeyoon and Vampire. I mean, now Karis is bot against an Ezreal. At threat to maybe get peppered down by BLG, and at threat to maybe be found in terms of a potential play. And definitely no early dragon on the table, given the strength of BLG's bot lane.
Karis is all the way down here. It doesn't matter that you have the Weaver's Wall. You're not going to be able to reach that far. With the way things are going up on this top side so far, the status quo is to be expected. So in 2 minutes, maybe we're looking at a BLG grub take here for their strong side laners. As some pings are going down on the bot side river. Ward is on this dragon right now, but BLG's bot lane hovering around in the area.
I think Beichuan wants it.
Too.
Yeah.
Seems like it.
This BLG is going to find the 2v2 again. We'll say mid lane is a shorter lane, so not quite as much room and potential for the Ezreal Nico to punish. So still a better setup for WE being here instead of bot in this lane. So I actually don't mind it really shifting them. I think it's a decent read. As WE really emerged as actually a pretty decent early game team in the LPL. I know that they're 5-8, but that goal differential at 15 on average is about even. And I think just eye test again, looking at this team, it has been Monki really the driving force for WE, and they've shown games where they can get leads against anyone in the league. Definitely been a big positive for WE on their resurgence here in Group Ascension. This Monki. Sadly, Nico spots those. Monki doing his best to try and control this top side. He does know the top side actually up and available for Beichuan. He has 6 early on.
Walls could be closing in on him. Beichuan ready to go. Comes on, Root goes down to the Monki teleport, coming in from behind as well. Knight's going to come through, but they're able to turn onto On and get the kill. See what more we're going to have. Elk is going to shift away. Bin makes his way down. Equalizer 2. Monki trying to get closer to Vampire. Taeyoon flashes over the wall as they turn onto Beichuan, but he's able to at least... No, he's still alive. Thought he was going to trade out. He will finally go down. Taeyoon will fall. Vampire will fall. Cube is stuck in a 3v1, and disaster strikes. BLG go to town on Team W.
Karis was stuck bot lane. Knight had the TP, joined and crushed the fight for BLG. As I like the idea of Monki looking for an invade when he has 6 and BLG doesn't. Frankly, On kind of trolled giving away that first death, but the collapse from BLG was damn clean as Bin and Knight joined the fight and had any hopes of a win for Team WE. Again, look at that TP from Knight. He had TP. Karis does not. Cannot threaten the Weaver's Wall from the bot lane. On sent his clone in to scout the brush. Vampire waited and found the hook, but Team WE are way too far deep into this fight. The all-in came on the Beichuan to try and find Monki another reset, but as you called out, Yanni, this game dictated by the Viego. Viego goes down. Any hope of winning a fight down numbers for sure goes out the window for Team WE's BLG cleanup. A pause.
To hit a pause real quick. You know, I do wonder if Team WE would have been able to get out if they just backed out, right? Because, you know, Elk had to shift away. Obviously,
there was no way out, though. That
well,
TP
you're
from
walking,
Knight.
Yeah, but you're walking toward Knight, but Beichuan is over on blue buff and doesn't really have a way to get out. Sure, Bin is coming down, but I do wonder if you can actually slip out there. It's tough because there are so many times in the LPL where we see teams at the level of like Team WE who make a really nice play, and then it's like, did they push for more when they really shouldn't have? And this feels like one of those scenarios where it maybe was the right call. It's just a question of, like, in an alternate universe, do they actually escape that? Because there aren't as many tools left over for BLG to actually lock them down,
The big thing for me is just the TP from Knight. I think the angle that him and Bin took and where WE was, that screenshot, I think once Knight TP's in, there's no escape. And I know that Beichuan was the look, but he had flash available, so even if they went straight towards Knight, I think that Beichuan just flash follows and they're able to find a win. Of course, we are kind of shadow boxing here, but overall, even with On going down for free, it was still a 5v4 or slash a 4v4. Yeah. As Knight joining the fight, finding the wipe was rather nice. And when we get back into the game, definitely going to be concerned for Team WE because this is a comp that with the Viego, with the Thaliveris, with this Galio, you got to hit the early mid-game hard to get the resets on Viego. If you don't, you're going to get like monumentally outscaled this game. And it really feels like that's the world that we're coming to as I'm seeing hands on keyboards. Of course, reason unknown, sorry. Yeah, we never know what the pause reason is. We're speaking of shadow boxing, it's us versus the LPL producers here.
Sometimes we gotta go at it. I love your very astute points about being worried about Team WE. So I have an astute point of my own. Is not good. A really bad start. Things not looking so hot. Twisted their ankle out the gate. Twisted their other ankle immediately after they recovered. And very, very worrisome scenario here, Cubby. As I want to shout out BLG because after the Beichuan change, there were a couple of moments throughout the season where we go before he shows up that yes, this was the BLG from 2024 when they are able to make a call and they kind of just descend on enemy teams like a pack of wolves, right? They're all really in sync. They're attacking from the same angles. And, it was inconsistent when they had that, but it just feels like now, more than ever with Beichuan coming in, it's a more consistent part of their game as they eviscerate those grubs.
Maybe it was just a little bit of honeymoon phase, who knows? I mean, I will say that Wei was underperforming this split. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts around that, but it wasn't just a Wei problem. I really feel like it was a BLG problem, and Beichuan coming in, it feels like Bin has really awoken from a slumber, as Bin has been back to his dominant ways. And again, I think Knight has just been fantastic all split and all year. So, just Beichuan coming in, it's been BLG looking good. And Beichuan, again, a player that had Thunder Talk in pretty good form. Yeah. Showed a lot of direction on that team, was definitely, I think, a really good performer on Thunder Talk. I mean, he would do his job and more in like a lot of games.
That's what I'm Thunder talking about.
Yeah. Ended up, I mean, I think it was a community surprise. Like, the rumor for BLG was that the replacement jungler was going to come from Group Ascend. Beichuan was not the first name on that list. I know that we even had a joke about the BLG jungle tryouts, right? Between Tien and, oh god, what was that series? Tien and someone else, but yeah.
Hang on, Beichuan. Turn on the Monki here. Knockup is there, but another nice equalizer coming down from Bin means that Monki is dead. There's no resets to be had. Cube is put on a skewer and burnt alive. Teleport's coming in. Oh no, Karis! He's surrounded like a horror movie. The zombies go get him, and BLG are crushing it.
Well, shout out to our coffee subscriber Forest Without, who believed that going into this day, BLG, or Team WE, with Cube, Karis, Taeyoon, Vampire, notice how he didn't miss Monki, wouldn't stand a chance against Bin, Knight, Elkanon, somewhat in that order. And so far, our wonderful coffee subscriber is correct. And if you want to be the genius that he might be, you can also join us at Command Coffee and support the LPL English broadcast directly. As I think coffee is going to be what I'm working on throughout the rest of this game, because frankly, it's a 3.5, 4K gold lead secured by BLG, who have the composition favored later on. They're already ahead. See everything thrown on the Beichuan. Not enough gas in the tank for Monki as On arrives in time to help their new jungler get out. Beichuan escapes with his life, escapes with the dragon, and Karis has a donation TP in the back half of this.
Well, maybe you could be like Karis, and you could subscribe to our coffee. You know, donation.
I was Karis
TP.
subscribing to the coffee.
You know what? We shouldn't have any elite players subscribe to any sort of coffee after recent things that have happened in the LT.
Yeah, probably not. But, of course, referencing spills. I actually saw a fun fact on Twitter. Shout out to Charlie, the old socials person for Immortals and Echo Fox. Actually had a fun fact behind the scene. At one point, coffee spills were so prevalent within the office that they found these suctioned up sippy cups for everyone that were unspillable. And the cups were so good that the players started taking them out of the office and then were stealing them for themselves. As Cube's about to get dunked.
Yeah, they're going to steal some plates. They're going to steal Cube. I don't know what to say, man. That is just really, really rough.
3 grubs and first brick, and feet secured for BLG.
Once upon a time, there was a game comparison. It was the Power Rangers versus the Hot Dogs.
Where did this come from?
Do you
Was
not
this
remember?
an actual plot point in the show?
What? No, I'm talking about when Doublelift said that at Worlds, I think.
Oh.
When it was SKT versus I can't remember. I think it was SKT versus I don't know what team. I think it was surrounded from SKT.
Did it possibly involve a Faker Olaf mid game into Aurelia?
I don't think so.
Okay, I remember that one.
We have the time. We have the time. I'm gonna Google it.
Maybe I can talk for a little bit to stall. It's a 4K gold lead. 13 minutes in. Beichuan gonna be the target yet again.
Okay,
the
wait a minute.
Dredge line goes wide from Vampire. Beichuan gets out of that one. And again, the compositions here that Team WE has, I mean, this comp had to get off to the races. It's gotten off to a race all right. Not one that we like, as it hasn't exactly been a...
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it hasn't exactly been a thoroughbred horse here for Team WE getting off to the races. I believe it's been about a 6-year-old mare that might have, in a past life, been a donkey. As we aren't moving at the pace we need to be moving at here right now, Yanni.
Might be time for the Coup Factory, I fear. It is only game 1. There's a reason why we play best of 3s.
Yes.
Is that so if you have a disastrous game like this, you can still come back and win. Hell, IG did it against WE just last night.
True.
BLG could also absolutely throw. They could throw this game. I don't think they will, but they could.
I mean, that's been really the scariness of BLG coming back with Beichuan. Again, this was a team that, with, Shun and, frankly, like Hui on the roster, because keep in mind, Hui was the jungler that they were having that dominant streak with that you were highlighting, Yanni, in the past year. I mean, this was a team with all the chaos in the LPL with, I remember, past playoff series where we've had, like, 80% of series go to 5 games. We've had regular seasons where it really felt like anyone could beat everyone in the LPL at points of time where, some teams would just kind of not prep or troll a series away. That was not BLG. BLG was nothing but dominant on their runs. And again, Knight has won 4, ignoring split 1, right? Going into that, he had won 4 LPL splits in a row. And doing it the fashion that BLG's done is quite crazy. All right, TP coming in.
We're going to give it a shot here. It's going to be On, the one who was knocked up. Here comes Karis as well. On's going to flash over the wall.
Can't even get on.
Report comes in. Everybody's matched here. On's going to be out of the fight, though. Knight does have that Nautilus ultimate. They're going to spot out On. Good job there. Able to get over the wall is Monki.
No sums. He's dead.
Elk has nothing. He's got no mana either. So Monkey's backed him up into a corner here, and Taeyoon is going to get this kill. All right, Team WE get a couple of things back. Beichuan forced the flash away. Nice job there by Team WE as they're going to be on the Herald.
All right, BLG maybe a little bit overextended to take that mid-outer. They were able to knock it down, but those couple of kills could lead to a Rift Herald here. WE grouped up. Good play from them. As that TP in, they actually found a positive play, found an answer, but of course, folks coming back here for BLG.
It goes down onto Beichuan. Seismic shoved as well. Galliol coming through on top of it. It's a big mess here as Knight's doing a lot of damage. Here comes the Pop Blossom. It lands only onto 2. As Knight is low, Pin is low. They got to get out of there. And all of a sudden, Team WE are starting to pick up some kills, Cubby.
Team Monki, baby. We talked about these Viego resets, the importance of WE hitting their stride early on. A couple slip-ups out of the gate, but hey, along the first corner, at least able to pick up a couple of furlongs on BLG. As that 4.5K gold lead, and the fact that we were talking about this game like it was over, we can't talk about that anymore because BLG, again, they played top and deep. Knight has a TP here. He sends it in, but the way that BLG retreated out of this, On just ended up kind of being stuck because of the collapse from Cube. Then I don't know where Elk's walking.
I don't know either,
ditch On.
This guy was lost in the jungle, much like his namesake.
We burned both sums to go into Narnia with no mana. And unfortunately, Monki was the evil witch there. And able to freeze Alchemist Max picks up the kill. And frankly, I mean, that's a Herald. That's the second dragon going over to WE. They pick up their first dragon of the game. And we get sold to spawn. But hey, WE again, importance that they were able to find things early. Actually bounce back here, and again, they're down to this game. Their scaling is not as good as BLG's, so need to keep on making plays, but at least WE able to bounce back a bit there.
Yeah, not out of it. Certainly not all the way back in it. They're still down 2,500 gold, right? But is much better than it was before. They will have some opportunities now. A little bit of power in the Monkeys. He's cresting toward 2 items. Everybody's done their first item. Another nice seismic shove here from Karis as they're going to all in on Beichuan. They take him out. Vampire gets that kill. Monki once more. So does Karis because he uses the ultimate. But Karis puts himself in no man's land. Pop Blossom lands onto 2, but On's going to go down as Monki will get it. It ends up being a 2-for-1.
All right, bit deep from Karis, but hey, 2-for-1. Monkey's going to drop the Herald. Mid-outer will fall. And again, this comp, it's all about Viego and these resets, and Monki has been able to connect.
Vampire went a little too deep there. Got taken out to about half HP, but the Herald doing good work here. Gonna get 1 turret, gonna get a charge on the second one as well. And things are starting to tilt a little bit closer to Team WE.
Again, I mean, it's all about the resets here. BLG been a little bit disrespectful. Monkey's been able to punish as the last couple of fights. Once Monki gets a reset, that's where Viego can start to snowball and deathball these fights. We definitely have seen that. BLG, their tankiness, I think it does exist. It just is kind of pseudo-tankiness with the slipperiness of, Ezreal. Nico's not tanky at all. We have seen On go down a few times to this Viego. Has been some tough looks, but hey. Do have to give some credit to Team WE. Digging themselves out of a 4.5K gold deficit at 12 minutes is no easy task. They've been able to make it look pretty good. Actually, again, finding good plays. We did credit some of their early game plays. Again, WE, they're 5-8 in the standings, but their average gold deficit at 15 is actually about even. They're like down 50 gold. And they have been a decent early game team in the LPL. They do play with direction and do have an identity, whether it's like Cube on tanks or really Monki on playmakers. Kind of feels like what WE's been going for. So has paid off. And hey, the early game we was able to bounce back from that as we reached the mid game, and actually in a spot where WE's not out of the game, which we didn't feel like was the case 12 minutes in.
Absolutely not, Cubby. The hill is still very tall to climb, right? Because Bin, one of his signature champions, is 4-0-7 right now. He's got 1,300 gold up his opposite number. Not that it's going to matter too much. Let's be honest. Cube is not really there to have a ton of gold. But this doesn't mean that Bin has been relatively unabated this game. And, it's a large departure from earlier on in this split where he was just constantly dying on side lanes and things were going really poorly. Obviously, haven't really got a stable game set up for Team WE to try to make plays onto Bin, but the fact that they haven't so far means that he's had a nice, easy cruising time here. He does have a shutdown on his head, so maybe, just maybe, Team WE will look toward him next.
That or maybe we get BLG looking at the Sadakon. Oh my, Beichuan's starting to get on spawn and the TP coming in. Cube is spotted bot. He has no TP. I think this might just be... they're really posturing to aggressively take this, but this is spotted now. See how fast Cube can respond, because this is a numbers advantage for BLG.
Yeah, it's a stealable objective now, so let's see if Monki wants to go for it. Will not do so. It is a free Otacon on spawn for BLG. Decisive play there, and that's why they've been so good lately.
I like that. I mean, Cube spotted bot, tracking that TP like a good team should. Mistake from Cube. Didn't think that they'd just rip it at 20. Again, Otacon does a decent amount of damage. Can be dangerous to start, but WE were not in the position to fight. WE need fights on their terms, and we're not able to find one there. So, nice call from BLG. Otacon is actually in a pretty nice spot, too, Yanni, as it is, of course, only one form that spawns. So that form, I think, feels reasonably strong and balanced, quite frankly, off the bat, as you need takedowns for it to connect. But if you get that takedown, you'll get slow field and some bonus damage, which can really help the death ball fight.
Not a doubt, and it's what BLG wants to do right there. Certainly down to get in the muck in melee range with 3 melee range champions plus On and his Pop Blossom. BLG have been brought to heal a little bit. They've been a little bit less inclined to fight over the last couple of minutes. With the teleport coming in here from Knight, as they're really looking to secure not only this bottom turret, but also this dragon. Speaking of fighting, On just gets picked off once again.
That could be the dragon going over, as Chemtech Soul is what we have on the Rift, and third dragon is to be snagged up here by WE. I didn't exactly see how On was caught out there, but a good find by WE and Monki. Looks like it was a Taeyoon Vampire combo with Monki. 3 ults used, and 1 kill, and a neutral objective going over to WE.
And you know what? BLG doesn't fight them before they come up. His cooldown's well spent. I mean, it's the 5th time they found On, right? And it's just continuously disrupting BLG's game plan, but no disruptions to be had anymore, as you'll get the double taunt cube, sure, and yes, you are a Galio against 2 magic damage dealers, but it could be problematic as Beichuan is on the way. Karis had to use his ultimate to make sure that his top laner could escape, taking Ezreal out on the way out.
Might just be bought out of that falls too, because the ults are not available for Team WE, so BLG with most of their ult economy up and available. Yep, will just be a drop for WE. Well played by BLG. As no blood, no fight, but they were able to pick up the objective and find the reset. Is going to get a replay again. Didn't exactly see how On got found here, but I think Vampire just recently saw the shadow, and then, yeah, off the auto attack. On gets 1 shot, so we'll save the flash. Of course, did go down. That's a neutral down, but that flash is, I like to call it, for supports. There are some supports where if you have flash up, it's a big power play. Nico for sure one of them with the Pop Blossom. As Pop Blossom Flash, got to make good use of that combo, because that can be a game changer.
See if On is able to right some of the wrongs he's had with a big Pop Blossom that puts BLG firmly in the lead once again. They haven't lost their grip on the lead completely, but it has certainly loosened. This Vampire hooks the wall. He'll be allowed to walk out there. That is very, very scary.
He's been hooking the clone a little bit here, too. As not quite able to find or connect. Of course, ultimate's back up for everyone but Karis. Elk did burn the True Shot barrage, but of course can get that one back up quickly as Elk getting closer to that 3-item mark we have seen be so big for Ezreal is On maybe found yet again. Monki a little bit split away though.
This could be problematic. Vampire going to get engaged on over on the side. Knight has his ultimate too.
Ooh.
The ultimate coming through to just try to save the day here, but now that means BLG has the inside track.
That was a bit of desync. I think Cube was really hoping that he could get that ult down before Vampire maybe flashed out. The Savior ult, not exactly what they wanted to see here, because of course Cube left the bot lane to use that. Now BLG make quick work of that blue buff return to get that bot lane in themselves. And map control kind of back in BLG's hands here in the back half of this play. Said Knight.
Nice check there, but fortunately for Team WE, they aren't able to lock him down.
I felt like that combo was late from Karis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And lucky dash a little bit from Knight, because that one looked blind. Didn't have the info there. Was able to get out of the stun, out of Fog of War from Viego. And a window that, I don't know if he was able to react to that one, but Knight, of course, an insane world-class player that we have, and that is always the fear, the terror of going up against BLG. Because when your solo lanes are Bin and Knight, a lot of games it feels like a cheat code. Straight up.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, you know, Knight is one of the greatest to ever do it, let's be honest.
Already in LPL history, yeah.
Yeah, LPL record for solo kills in a split. Always like to see him add to that total. He's just so good at 12-time All-Pro. That's video game numbers. That's created player numbers, man. This guy's a 99 overall in every.
I mean, again, 4 splits won in a row with 2 different organizations for Knight. I think that's pretty damn impressive.
Not only that, not only wins, but like split 1 finals was the first LPL final without him since 2021 summer.
Yep.
Like, that's absurd to think about.
Yep. It's been really, once Knight started making finals, feels like it's been his league, and he's the mid laner to beat. Only a handful of mid laners that have been able to rival him throughout those years. And sadly, one of them did retire in Yagao, who was, a fun fact, the only player out of the 10 players that have the most LPL games under their belt that is not currently active, which is a pretty cool part about the league. Definitely been blessed with some longevity of great players within this league. So Knight definitely been a part of that himself. And we will see what he can do the rest of this game. As it hasn't been a splash for Knight yet. Been a little bit quiet in terms of kill participation, but been doing a good job of making sure that he is farmed and fed as we get closer and closer to these big fights. And Knight will be big this game. Has the Seeker's arm guard now. Has picked up those nice little empowered sword shoes with the fleets as Taeyoon. That chain of corruption goes wide. Bin might be in trouble though. He does see the shroud.
Oh, his goose may be cooked. The Monki flashes on top of him. Bin's gonna drop the ultimate down. It's not gonna do anything.
Fine.
Just clear out the wave. Ezreal coming through.
Karis has TP.
Karis' shield.
This
BLG
is the second
in the mid lane here.
Second dragon in a row where Team WE has found a pick fourth that will enable them to take that objective for free. So that will be soul point secured for Team WE. A game where Chemtech Dragon has some value. That extra resist and the shielding power can be used by a couple of the members of Team WE. Keep in mind that Galio W shield will get better with Chemtech's as well. Of course, not a castable, but a nice passive that he has there. As well as, of course, the ultimate, the castable, as well. So that shield does go up in value, too.
One thing to note, Bin had a shutdown there, and I believe it went over to Monki.
And die by the Diego. That is, has been... you did say was doing a little bit less of just this, which is dying in the side lane for nothing. But sadly,
hang on,
dying
there's
side
a picture in picture.
Live.
Yeah, full engage coming out here, and guess what?
Monki.
Beichuan is dead, and the health bars for Team WE are large right now. Cubby, this is going to be Team WE's Baron.
I mean, they can at least be forced to it. I still think it's BLG that's the stronger team. I know that it's starting to get to a point of concern. I gotta say, we've been saying that BLG is the comp that's strong and should be able to outscale against WE, but keep in mind, this is a 4.5k gold lead for BLG 12 minutes in, and now it's a 1.5k gold lead for them in a game where WE has just been doing more and more and more to claw their way back in. That is not the dominant BLG that we were used to in this league, Yanni. Again, when BLG was at their best, it didn't matter who they faced, they would blow them out of the water in the LPL. Top and bottom teams in a league that oftentimes has a lot of volatility. And we've seen a more volatile BLG this year as they have had their own share of struggles. And in this game, again, against WE, a comp where we assume they should be taking care of business, Beichuan. Fishing for a Raptor, didn't have a lot of help, didn't have control over the map, and Q able to find him. And sets up for a free kill for Team WE. Of course, didn't turn into a Baron, which the Baron DPS, when you have a Poke Varus and a Galio top, is not the best. So
no, certainly not. Vampire took so much damage, though, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like if it was a little healthier, you know, then maybe you're still on the Baron. Maybe you could find another pick there and take out another member of BLG and force them off.
Still
also, yeah, it's still really, really encouraging here for Team WE, but it does mean that, you know, BLG still has a grip on this game, albeit very tenuous. They still have it. They're still advantaged. It means that Team WE, when they get those opportunities, they have to get more.
Look, this game should not be at this mark. It was a 4.5k gold lead, 12 minutes in.
We were talking about hot dogs.
Yeah, Beichuan and On have definitely had a couple of oopsies as it continues.
Another oopsie! He's just dead! What is going on?
Plus 119, he's a cannon minion.
My goodness, he's not even disguised as one.
Monki.
Oh, Monki, I like this. This elf finds himself in trouble, gets stunned up,
BLG.
and he's dead too. Team WE are running over BLG. They wanted more, they got more. Flash, hook, onto Beichuan. He's gonna ult him away. As Team WE are relentless, Cubby.
BLG, again, I wasn't taking this game super seriously for Team WE because I really thought that BLG, like as this game would go on, would be fine, but it's been WE, the only team that's been making the plays. On and Beichuan have just not been able to put it together on the map, both getting caught out individually, respectively, multiple times, as the goal lead now for WE, an inhibitor to fall, and they're kind of posturing to end here. They've got 15 seconds on the Rumble and the Ezreal. Will be a Weaver's Wall that cuts them off and stops the push, but WE, permanent damage done. Knock down the inhibitor turret and take an inhibitor for themselves. It will be down when their Chemtech Soul spawns.
This game just got completely turned on its head, Cubby. I mean, Team WE just up 1,000 gold now. This is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Monki's got the Guardian Angel. He's had it for a little while, but now this is actually a big deal to talk about, because even if they find him, I mean, the rest of Team WE are so back. And
I gotta say, Chemsoul's valuable in this game too.
Yeah, it is.
A champion like Viego, you get that damage reduction when you're low. That matters a lot for Viego with finding resets. They didn't get to spend their gold. They did not. I like this from BLG. I know it's aggressive to start, but they're trying to pull them away from the Dragon too. Vampire has a find on.
From the side on. Oh yeah, On's very far out, but a good equalizer comes down. Karis has to go golden. Elk gets hooked up. And Knight with a stolen ultimate there. Vampire's low, but On and Elk survive. Monki is trying to do what he can, but Knight's gone golden. Monki is in stasis, and BLG turning around on Team WE and ace them clean.
The golden left hand of BLG is their savior. A beautiful team fight from Knight. He played that pixel perfect, picture perfect, as the Zanyas prevents the reset, and the abscond abduct that was pixel perfect in the back half to find the Viego. BLG retake the lead, and they're not actually even denying the Mountain Soul. They want the turrets first, or the Chemtech Soul, I should say. Luis gonna TP for the outer. If they play for the Baron, they will give up Kensoul.
That's a big concern, but it looks like they will just go for this Baron. All right, Cubby, we're going to find out, brother. We're going to find out together.
This is a little bit questionable. I think when we go back to live, it will be Chemsoul secured. Oh, we're going back again. On was found by Monki. This led to the original snowball for WE. Is again, plus 119. That guy's a glorified cannon creep. They were able to force out Elk, and then keep in mind, I mean, Beichuan's not even close to this, right? Him and Ben were playing a little bit behind. Great ult from Karis, following this all the way through. Was a perfect angle on the Elk, who kind of looked silly, not able to get over the wall to Knight and to Beichuan. BLG did look desynced there, but again, keep your eyes on Knight for this fight, folks. This was fantastic from him. Okay, we're not even going to get the replay. We're going back to live. Chemsoul contested.
Oh, there we go. There was a seismic shove, but the equalizer comes down. BLG looking to put the pressure onto Team WE. They are very healthy, though, and Bin has no equalizer.
They force WE to bot side, the disadvantageous side. Knight, of course, can cycle out the ultimates, too, at this point, as double 18. Silas can get multiple hijacks throughout the fight.
Monki has no GI.
Karis, they're going to burn.
Wall there. On gets denied, but Knight gets over the wall. Looking for big damage. They blow up Monki, and it's simply front to back at this point. The Dragon secured for BLG. The fight's going to be secured for them, too. Taeyoon is desperately trying to escape, and Knight's Kingslayer heals him up too much for Team WE to handle.
All right.
The little brothers were messing around, and BLG get in the gamer position. They hunch their back, and they meant business.
Yep, the scaling kicked in here as Monki fell first in that fight, and BLG, they've taken over. They get the Dragon. They're going to wrap up the game, and it really took a heroic performance from Knight to get them back in this one. 25 pages on the Magi's when it's all said and done. We'll see if they can wrap it up on this push. I will say WE spawning soon enough to maybe contest.
I don't think it's going to happen, Cubby. Monki's up in 5, but these health bars are not low.
Okay.
The Nexus turrets have fallen. BLG, we're not looking so good. They fumbled the bag multiple times, but Team WE could not bring it home. BLG up 1-0.
Killing series from Knight. He secures the Pog from that one. No contest. I know we didn't get a replay of that Baron fight. Cannot emphasize enough how perfect of a fight that was from Knight. Again, had the Zanyas at 0 HP in a pixel perfect abscond abduct connect to wrap it up against Monki. This guy is he won 4 splits of LPL in a row for a reason on 2 different organizations. Again, despite some of the struggles we've seen from BLG this split, the struggles have not been from Knight. He continues to be fantastic, and he really clutched up when it counted there for BLG to take that game 1.
Cubby, once they took that inhib, I think Team WE had to get out of there.
You know, we didn't take him serious for a bit of a reason. Again, the game should not have been that close. WE can definitely take that home. I feel like WE, as a 5-stack, played better as a team. Yeah. Again, the theme of this team is that, Ben, that they are greater than the sum of their parts. But that game, like at one hand, you can say that game should never have been that close with a 4.5K gold deficit at 12 minutes. On the other hand, as WE, you're like, oh, God, guys, we had a 4.5K gold deficit at 12 minutes. Like, why did that happen? If that didn't happen, they might have been able to play themselves out to a win because they did make a lot of good early to mid-game plays to get themselves back in that game and back into an actual winning position at one point.
Yeah, it's just they went and they were like, we can try to win the game right here. And they went and they stuck around. They do what happens in like flex queue all the time, you know? You get that inhibitor down. You're like, guys, can we end? We're like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we can end. And then you get denied there. And then your resets are all messed up, right? Again, we talked about it, that Baron fight. They didn't get a chance to spend their gold. If they take the inhibitor, they get out, they reset, they spend that gold, and then they can choose. They can say, hey, do we want the Baron or do we want the Dragon, right? And feel really good, but the pockets were weighing them down. They were just a little too slow. And unfortunately, generational bag fumble by Team WE. They're going to have to come back and try to even up the series.
Yeah, and generational carry from Knight Silas.
Oh, yeah.
Knight continues to be fantastic. I believe wrapped up 9-0-8, went legendary on the Silas as the golden left hand that has dominated the LPL.
Yeah.
They needed him to step up, and Knight delivered, as always, really clutched up for BLG there.
Yeah, despite On's best efforts, BLG did
and Beichuan's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Beichuan.
Yeah.
All right, it's a little. Beichuan's got an excuse, although he got picked off that one time. He's got an excuse in that he's a Jinzhao, right? You know.
There were two times. Okay,
there was a second.
The earlier one was the Gromp.
Time.
Yeah. That was the second time around the enemy Raptors, but hey.
Okay, yeah, he goes on the inter list too. Despite their best efforts.
New, right? Yeah. You could see some of the split though from BLG again. That wasn't the cleanest game from them as a team, but a hella clean game from Knight as an individual.
Yes.
Sometimes, man, all you need is that Thanos level mid laner. Knight for sure. Globally, an elite player, cannot sing the praises of this guy enough. If you're talking about the best mid laners in the world, Knight doesn't have to be number one, but he has to be in that conversation as he really stepped up big in that game. Damage dealt to champs does not speak to the impact that Knight had. The impact that Knight had, well, you can see it in that gold graph, because once it started going back to blue team's favor, that's where Knight took over the game.
Yeah, it was. You mentioned it earlier. It was like, yeah, 2-0-2. He hasn't really done a whole lot, but he was a sleeping giant that game, right? That's where he came alive near the end. When the chips were down and BLG needed to win fights because of the position that they put themselves in, Knight was the one to get them through it. Again, as you said, if you only take a look at the post game, if you only take a look at the damage charts, you're not going to know the profound impact that he had on this game.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. Maybe the most valuable 15% damage share I've seen in a long time from Knight, as really farmed up. And again, once he got that stacked Roa, the Rift Maker, and the upgraded Sork Shoes with the Seekers, we saw once that Seekers got completed, Knight took off. As again, going through some of the replays, this was a big one. They were able to get a reset on the Monki. And again, Monki just ended up taking off. And was a squishier front line here for BLG. This is the other pick I was talking about with Beichuan, right? Just being too far up. Really like the trigger pull here from Vampire 2 to, again, just guarantee that Monki reset. And you could see some of the logic here with Karis being able to help play fights fast to help out Monki. Of course, went overextended there a little bit, but that pick onto Elk was really big later on, where he had that Weaver's Wall in deep. And, I mean, the theme of this game was just On and Beichuan getting picked off. And Ben getting picked off here as he had a sin, but it was mostly the jungle support that were picked on and picked off multiple times by WE, which helped get them back in this game and overcome what was a 4.5K gold deficit, like 12:30 in the game. Definitely not a scenario that should have happened, and not a game state that BLG should have been in.
It's always a banger in the LPL, my friend. We get
just show the night fight
happen regularly. It's so crazy.
So we'll see the Knight fight soon. Elk had a couple sussy moments here too. Like walking up with Knight's fine, but why don't you Weaver's Wall? I guess he. I couldn't see if he had summoner spells up. I'm just curious that he didn't Arcane Shift back in to help with the team. As all right, everyone eyes on Knight. We actually get to see this fight again. A beauty. Karis, really good angles to get him picked off. I mean, this is pixel perfect just to find Karis out of Seekers, and then this fight takes out 2. Somehow able to go golden here. which was beautiful because it prevented the reset on the Monki. Dashes out, then again, pixel perfect here with the abscond, the abduct cast. Oh, beautiful there. Oh, take those 2 screenshots 2 frames apart. Knight was able to connect, even got the second burst of the Q down. As that fight was all Knight, this fight was all Knight, and helped him, or really helped his team take back over in this game. Again, a game that should not have been nearly as close as what it looked like with the humongous lead that BLG had early on. WE were somehow able to close the gap on that one, but not able to close out the game as their comp got outscaled. And, well, if you look at Knight, they get outplayed.
And if you didn't notice in that very last fight, goes over the wall, immediately finds Monki, takes care of business. We talked about how this comp was so centered around Monki and his Viego, and that once he went down, it would fall apart. Now, the question is, do we think the LPL voters will actually give it to Knight? Because at times we have disagreed with them at times. We have disagreed with their selections. So
if it's not Knight, it is Media Keck W. Knight was the one that trolled the least that game for BLG. In fact, he was only the one that carried them out of the deficit. But
yeah,
when BLG was falling, he trolled the least hands down. As, yep, that's an easy one. Congrats to Knight. Again, the most valuable 15% damage share I've seen in a long time, as Knight ended up really helping them overcome that deficit and win the game. As it was a beastly game for Knight. Moves that MVP count to 8. And moves BLG up 1-0 as we're about to dive into game 2 here pretty soon.
Yes, sir. That means we are going to take a short break. When we return, we'll get into all the action for game 2 between BLG and Team WE. We'll see you on the other side.